Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So my topic today is about Prophet Muhammad, and it'll probably be over 2 lectures because there's a lot to cover about him. He is Rahmatul Alameen, a mercy to mankind, and God created him for that purpose. He was created to bring life to humanity, life coming through Islam, or the knowledge of the teachings of God coming through in its final form in the Quran to us. And his speech, a lot of it has been lost in the Hadith structure other than the Quran itself. The Quran is more or less intact, but the Hadith structure, many things have occurred that are changes in it, and it's not to be relied on except in certain areas where it does make coherence, and where I elaborate as well that it is from Prophet Muhammad that this Hadith is correct. But he is a mercy to mankind and a sun to us, a sun that gives light, the light of truth, of knowledge, of understanding. All the literature that has come through to us in the Quran to us is because of him and because of his nature, because he himself was the epitome of the Quran. Yes, the Quran could not have come to anybody else because only he fulfilled the Quranic laws completely and the Quranic injunctions in his body to us and his living to us. Aisha was asked about this, that what was the character of Muhammad by a companion after Prophet Muhammad had died, and she said it was the Quran. So you see, he lived his life, the Quran, and because he was perfect in it and never had known a lie, he fulfilled all the edicts of the Quran. And that's why the Quran was given to him, a heart that had known no untruth. And that's why the Quran was given to this heart. A heart that was not perfect in the sense that God is perfect, but was perfect as in the sense of humanity, learning and life and living life, and trying to fulfill the commandments of God throughout his life. That's what he did. He had a sin too, and he had a sin of polytheism in him. But it was a thought only, but it is mentioned in the Quran that he was a sinner, just like all humanity are sinners. And it's made up that Jesus is not a sinner because it is in the Hadith structure that Jesus said that nafsi, nafsi, myself, I'm concerned about myself on the day of judgment, and I cannot intercede for mankind. And Abraham and Moses said the same, and other prophets and other people that the people approached for the day of judgment to begin all said that. And only Prophet Muhammad was able to intercede on the day of judgment, and judgment began, and Prophet Muhammad entered paradise. So these are things that I teach you. Some of these things are hidden to you and have been taught to me personally by Allah and the Prophet. But I'm humble in this matter. I have this knowledge, but it is given to me, and it was there with Prophet Muhammad as well. But he knew a lot of it would be lost in the Hadith structure, and that's why he didn't talk too much about hidden things or about our before life when he was spirits. But he did give an indication that he was a traveler and he was resting in the cool shade of the earth for a while. So that means that he did have a spirit from before. So I'm going to start here now with the Quranic verse, chapter 33, verse 45 and 46. O Prophet, surely we have sent thee as a witness and a bearer of good news and a warner. And an inviter to Allah by his permission, and a light-giving sun. So Allah invites you all to come to Islam. It is the only religion that's going to be accepted by him. And this is in the Quran itself, that he will accept no other religion except Islam. And Prophet Muhammad is an inviter to all humanity. It is not just for the Muslims or those who followed him in Arabia, but it is for all humanity. And the Quran talks about this extensively, that how the message of Muhammad is from all mankind, and the Quran is for all mankind. And God has addressed mankind over 300 times as Ya Ayyuhan Nas, people. And that means it is for all mankind. It is not just for certain groups of people, like the other prophets were before Muhammad, on him be peace, on this matter, that he is Rahmatul Alameen for all mankind. So I'm going to go to another verse up here where Prophet Muhammad has been called Rahmatul Alameen, verse 107, chapter 21. And we have not sent thee but as a mercy to the nations. Say, it is only revealed to me that your God is one God. Will you then not submit? But if they turn back, say, I have warned you in fairness, and I know not whether that which you are promised is near or far. So, a mercy to man, a mercy to the nations, Rahmatul Alameen. It is not just one nation, it is for all nations. The plural is applied here. So, this is the message of the Quran, and he is a mercy to mankind. And he was always a companion of Allah after he was created 20 billion years ago. That's when his spirit was created, and he was taught personally by Allah. And then 7 billion years ago, Mary was created, and so forth. All humanity came from the gene of the spirit. And these are the two that are our father and our mother to us, in humanity, from the spirit from to us. So these are things that I tell you of the hidden that have been explained to me, and you can take it or leave it. I'm just explaining what has been told to me, that we did exist in spirit form before, and when we are created on earth, our DNA is from our spirit. Prophet Muhammad's spirit had been taught by Allah, and his spirit was not perfect, but close to perfection. In fact, he was the best of creations and so forth. He was created in this way so that he would guide all mankind to Islam. And other prophets have guided us to Islam as well. Noah, Abraham, Adam, and Moses, and so forth, Jesus as well. But a lot of their knowledge has been lost, and the Quran has been preserved more or less intact, and it is the best preserved book. There are minor issues in the Quran. There are some verses that have been changed somewhat, but overall the message is intact in the Quran, and the number 19 applies to the verses. Nearly all the verses have number 19 multiple in the Arab lexicon. There's a numerology of the Arabic words that adds up to where letters are assigned a number, and this has been verified by scholars that the Quranic verses are multiple of 19. So the Quran is intact more or less, and it was given to a person with sublime morals. The Quran talks about Prophet Muhammad as a man with sublime morals, and Allah says to the Prophet when people are calling him mad, and he says in verse 4 in chapter 68, and surely thou hast sublime morals, and you are not mad. So Prophet Muhammad was Rahmatullah Alameen. He cared for humanity. He really was grief stricken when people were not coming to Islam. And it is in the Quran that how noble a character he is, and how he cared for humanity. In chapter 18 and verse 6, it says, "Then maybe thou wilt kill thyself with grief, sorrowing after them, if they believe not in this announcement." So this is Prophet Muhammad killing himself with grief. He was so compassionate and caring for humanity, and he did not want them to be punished. He wanted them to come to heaven with him, and not to go to hellfire. And he was a mercy to them, and he cared for them. And because of his nature, people came through for him. And if he had been hard-hearted, the Quran says that the people would have left him, but he was not. He was pliant, soft-hearted, and a mercy to his companions. So this is Prophet Muhammad, an exemplar for us. It says in chapter 33 that Prophet Muhammad is an example for us. In verse 21 it says, "Certainly you have in the Messenger of Allah an excellent exemplar for him who hopes in Allah in the latter day and remembers Allah much." So this is Prophet Muhammad, a perfect example for us. He was human, he made mistakes, and he had a sin of polytheism, but it was not an overt sin, and that's why he could intercede for us on the day of judgment, because it was not an overt sin. All other prophets had an overt sin, and they fell, and Prophet Muhammad was one who did not fall. So it was like Abraham when he was searching for God, and he looked at the sun and he said, "Thou art my Lord," and the stars. He said something similar in the moon, and when they set, he said, "Surely I'm clear of what you worship," and he denied polytheism in him, and the worship of heavenly bodies and so forth. So in the search for truth, some errors do occur, but they are cleared afterwards, and so forth. The sin goes away from you when your clarity of intellect occurs. So Prophet Muhammad is Rahmatullah Alameen. He's an example for us. And Prophet Muhammad said about Jesus and Moses as well, that if they had been alive, they would have to follow me as well. So Prophet Muhammad is the feet that we follow to get to heaven. He is an example for us, and he is truthful, honest, upright, and he's never known a lie. And it was this heart that never knew a lie that the Quran was given to. And he himself said that I have never lied, and a truthful person who says that is obviously telling the truth. He was known as Sadiq al-Amin in Arabia, in Mecca, before he was a prophet, and he had never been known to lie to people. And his worst enemy, Abu Sufyan, said to Heracles, the emperor of the Roman Empire, when he traveled to their vicinity, that he had never known him to lie. So even his enemies said that he had never known him to lie. So obviously, he was not a liar. And in his own words, he said, "I have never lied." So obviously, he's telling the truth up here. And this is the person that Jesus had predicted as the Spirit of truth will come, and he will tell you things that you do not have the heart to bear right now. So he brought the Quran. The Spirit of truth is Muhammad. And he was also a maintainer of trust. Amin is one who maintains the trust. And there's a story that is very interesting, that once a man asked him to meet him in a while, and he said, "I'm going to come back." And he forgot about it. And the next day he remembered, and he went to see if Muhammad was still there. And Muhammad, on him be peace, was waiting for him, and he was upset with him because he had made him stay there overnight. But Muhammad did not change his position. He stayed there in that place, waited for him overnight as well. And this is Prophet Muhammad, that when he gave his word, it was truth and he lived to it. And he maintained his trust to people, and he was known as trustworthy, and even his enemies trusted him. And when he was in Makkah, he was given things to be entrusted with, and so forth. He is not a liar to you. All humanity is a witness that a man, but humanity has witnessed that he was not a liar. Muhammad himself has witnessed he is not a liar, and his enemies have witnessed that he's not a liar, cannot be untruthful, and cannot be a bad person to you. And the Quran is full of piety, and Muhammad's life is full of piety. So I'll end up here today, and I'll continue tomorrow. This is a long topic, but just know that Prophet Muhammad is the example for us, and his nature was such that it was the Quran to us.